Welcome to The Ripple Within, a podcast by All in One Life Coaching. I'm Michelle, a certified life coach specializing in mindset, emotional wellness, and the law of attraction. I work with people to help create the narrative around their desired outcome.
And I'm Kathy. I'm here to ask the questions, explore the patterns, and share the real life moments that make this all, well, make sense.
This show is about the connection between how we feel and the physical reality we experience every day. We'll explore how our thoughts lead to outcomes and how narrative shifts can create big change.
We'll keep it grounded using logic and lived experience, not just theory. And if you've ever wondered why you feel stuck, reactive, or out of sync with yourself, you're not alone.
Our life experience will always match how we feel. This podcast is about exploring our ripple within, how our thoughts, emotions, beliefs, and values contribute to the physical life we live. Let's get into it. Welcome back, everyone. All right, Kathy, what have you got for us today?
Let's talk a little bit more about unconditional and what it means to be unconditional and how we can be better at being unconditional. Because unconditional is hard sometimes.
Yeah, and it's such a great and fitting topic at the moment. It's been a big topic of discussion in coaching for me and even in my own self-discovery. So before we get into it, what does unconditional mean to you?
I think unconditional for me is just complete and utter acceptance. Some things are harder to do that with, though. To just be able to accept where you are in the moment with whatever's going on, just being able to accept it all.
Yeah. Yeah. So a couple things in that. And I want to be able to clarify truly what I mean when I say, as a coach, and certainly in this environment, when I'm talking about being unconditional and what that really means. I feel like even for me, sometimes when I say it, it's not received from a true place of well-being because there's a misconception potentially and a misunderstanding of what I mean specifically when talking about being unconditional. From a law of attraction perspective, being unconditional in your own vibrational emotional state. So we want to be able to maintain as often as we can, the best we can, a state of well-being that's above the line. And when I say unconditional, I want us as humans to be able to do that no matter what others are doing. So we're not maintaining our own well-being for you. That is the happy byproduct and the happy outcome when we do. But I'm going to do my best to maintain a more positive state of being for me. And there's reasons for that. And using myself as an example, when we're frustrated, annoyed, maybe even downright pissed off, upset about something, and we're communicating with another, if we communicate from here, then I too, human, I too am going to use words that are, I disagree. I think you're full of BS. I don't like what you're saying. And then we end up going to the rabbit hole. So what I'm saying and suggesting for myself included, that I am going to be so in tune with my own well-being, my own behavior, the way I conduct myself, the way I approach a situation, the way I speak to other people, the way I engage. I want to be so insightful about where I am on the scale before I do something. And sometimes we will say, you know what? No, I'm mad and they are going to hear about my anger right now and my madness. And that isn't wrong, right? It's not wrong to do that. However, expecting a result from here when you do, it's illogical. Because if I'm coming at you from here, using words from here, often blame, frustration, pointing the finger, you did this wrong, blah, 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 then it would be really weird for me to then expect you to be like, man, you fill me with love and kindness.
Yeah.
It would be really weird for us to expect a different outcome. So being unconditional from a law of attraction perspective is, I'm not doing it for you. I'm doing it so I can be proud of who I am and how I conduct myself. And when I practice doing it from here, it is way less likely that I'm going to say something that I might regret in the future. Something I potentially could blame myself for or blame you for.
I think one of the hardest things for me, and I know we've talked about this before, is being reactive instead of going back to the place of being unconditional. Because it could be anything, anywhere, right? Like you see an email from somebody. Sometimes your initial reaction isn't the true unconditional moment once you open that email, right? Like I'll see an email from somebody and I'll think, gosh, what am I doing now, right? What do they want now? And that's not the reaction I should have, even if I'm satisfaction, right? Like I should be able to see an email and go, oh, what can I help with now? Or how can I be helpful? Rather than, oh crap, what do they want?
Yeah. So, well, I mean, it's such a good insight for you to bring up and such a good way for us to be able to explain that, first of all, when you get an email and your first response is, crap, now what do they need? Number one, that is not wrong.
Oh.
It is not wrong to have that response. What it tells me, though, is there is a pre-existing emotional state, probably here and here somewhere, which is why when you saw the email, you were like, ugh, again with this business.
Yeah.
So when we're here and we see something, it is purely logical that you might respond with a, oh man, like again. That is logical. And we don't want to take away that being a connection that's going to happen, because when we are in the rabbit hole and then action happens. So first of all, emotionally, we're there first. We already have feelings of discomfort. We're not happy. Things are going not well. We're sad, lonely, like we're here, right? So when we are there, number one, it happens to us emotionally first. We feel it emotionally. And then when things act, so when things come to physical fruition, like an email, right? And especially if it's from, potentially the same person who kind of does it all the time and, they're not learning potentially, right? Like there's other deciding factors in there too. But once we are here and we get that email, to have that initial response of, oh my gosh, yeah, perfectly normal, makes total sense to me, no wrongness in it, 100%. accurate. The beauty with you is because you've practiced this now for a while and you really do feel it and you really do notice the difference, is you're getting so much better at not responding from there. So being able to recognize that, oh man, I am annoyed. I am like, this is just irking me right now. I don't like it. I'm annoyed. And then for you to do exactly what you said earlier was, wait, I know I have an opportunity to be helpful. But again, we're not doing it for them. We're still not doing it for them. They're going to get the byproduct of you being helpful. What a wonderful thing. But we're doing it so that you can feel good about the way you're interacting in that specific environment. Right? Because, and you and I both know that you beat yourself up so much when you feel like you might have said something wrong. You beat yourself up for that. We're just saying we can prevent the beating of the selves up when we do our best to always, as best as we can, to respond from either satisfied or above.
I did catch myself today going, no, you don't know. You can't know what's in somebody's head. You can't know any of that. You're making it up in your head. Stop it. Back to well-being. Intent is all that sort of talk. Then I opened the email.
Yeah.
You know what? It wasn't that damn bad.
Tell me.
Right?
Ooh, that just gave me the chills.
But I had to. I think one of the things that when it's face to face, I'm still working on it. Like I know I'm not there yet. But when it comes to an email, something physical that I can take a step back from and just go, no, you don't know what's in their head. And as you say, I'm making it up in my damn head. So no, just take a beat, right?
Yep.
I haven't, those words are so negative, but it's true. I haven't figured out yet how to do that person to person. I'm working on it on the phone. Like I'll take a breath, take a moment before I respond. Even in like meetings and stuff, I've started to like just take a second, continue to make notes, but face to face, maybe it's my brain doesn't keep up fast enough. I don't know. But for me, unconditional person to person, for me, is a challenge, even when it's me that needs to be unconditional.
Yeah, so I would say a couple of things. Number one, appreciate so much that you are even recognizing it, because that is the majority of the battle for us as people. So the fact that you're recognizing it, that's a huge win and something that you should be really proud of yourself for. The second thing I want to say about that is that's why pre-preparation is so important before picking up the phone, before making a phone call, before entering a meeting, and specifically when it's practiced behavior with other team members potentially, where you can prepare yourself before the meeting and not from a place of, oh my God, that person's going to be in the meeting and they're just going to make life miserable again, right? No, that's not what we're saying. We don't want to prepare ourselves from the negative bucket. But what we could do before a meeting, again, if there's somebody specific or multiple people specifically, is we can prepare ourselves before the meeting and say things like, okay, I'm on this new journey. I'm really trying to be this person from Wellbeing before I go. I know I'm entering a meeting that's going to create discussion and there'll be opportunities for me to find clarity. And the likelihood is someone might say something I disagree with. Like we can just know that. And then being able to say, but you know what? That's okay too, because every time we discover that there's something to disagree with, I'm the one who ends up learning from it and growing from it and, providing a solution now, because we have to remember that every time we notice the problem, we also have the solution. So if we're noticing the discomfort, it does mean that we have something to solve. And again, back to the beauty of you being able to understand that and know what that means and put things into practice to achieve that goal. Number one, we don't stay there quite as long. And like you said earlier, you caught yourself and you heard yourself say, oh man, you don't know what's going on in their experience. I don't know, right? Like I'm making it up, which is all factual information and actual information. Then you kind of can let yourself off the hook too. So the idea about showing up for a meeting is showing up and being open, showing up and knowing that there's could be potential for a difference of opinion, but ultimately I'm going to focus on what the solution is regardless.
How do we start?
And
how do we start
mhm.
to teach ourselves to be unconditional?
It takes some practice. It takes some willingness to know where you are on the emotional scale. It takes some time discovering who you are and how you want to present yourself and what feels best when you're looking in the mirror and that person looking back at you. And it takes some practice. It takes and we're never going to be able to do it 100% of the time. So being able to accept that there's a perfection to us at our cores. There really, really is, that from the well-being belief system, that there's a perfection to us to our cores. But we live in an environment with imperfections in it. And once we can, that actually kind of gave me the chills, right? Because once we can understand that this experience is about learning, growing, developing, and being the best we can within it, then everything else just slowly starts to fall in place. So again, I would review things to be grateful for. I would truly look in the mirror and go who are you? And, I think we've talked about this before, maybe not, but we'll say it again here. Oftentimes from a coaching perspective, I'll ask people, what would your obituary say? Right? Like if you were writing your own obituary right now, what would it say? Right? Because we generally don't write our own. Somebody else writes it on our behalf. I would encourage people to write their own.
Yeah.
Because now we get something to live up to. And now again, I don't want to get too caught up in it from a perspective of, because we don't want to really concern ourselves too much with what other people think of us. But from a coaching perspective, in the very beginning, it's easier to get people to explain how they want to be seen versus how they see themselves.
I'm still thinking about what I'd write. No, I think most humans, I hope most humans want to be I believe most humans want to be helpful. Now that's a pretty broad statement because I know from experience in grocery stores or parking lots or Boxing Day sales or that is not always true. It is absolutely not always true. Sometimes people just lose their damn minds, right? So how do we, even in all of that chaos, how do we
Mm-hmm.
maintain our own unconditional emotional state when everything around us is chaos?
So a couple of things. It would be impossible to do that if that were actually true.
Ah,
Everything that is happening around us is how we are perceiving it. And you just said words that, how do we do that when everything around us is chaos? I can know that not everything in actuality is chaos. But if all I can see in the moment is the chaos, then yeah, that it's going to be difficult to come out of that, and it's going to feel really, really uncomfortable. So one of the things I would say is when we hear ourselves say, everything is chaos, I again would like us to be able to add something to the end of that. Everything is chaos to me right now. Only right now. Right? Because in that moment, that's your reality. And we don't want to minimize that emotional connection when we say things like everything is chaos. But the reality, true reality of it is that is not the actuality. Not everything is chaos, and certainly not even in your own experience. I had this conversation earlier today with a client who has a really hard time finding things to be grateful for. And again, in the simplest terms, there might not be much for us to be grateful for in some cases. And I would start with things like the basics. And I think these are things that you have done in the past. I have a roof over my head. I woke up breathing this morning. I woke up. I have a job. I have food, have friends and family who care about me, right? I love my pets. You know what? Like you have done that kind of work to be able to find those things to be grateful for. So even when we're in the chaos, those things don't go away. For most of us, I mean, there are obviously some folks that potentially may not have a roof over their head, and finding something to be grateful for would be a lot more difficult, for example. But for people that do have that, that is an easy place for us to go to, is finding just those little things. And changing the narrative from everything is chaotic to things really seem to be chaotic right now. I wonder what it means, right? Like, so with that now, for you, when you feel that, what would be something different you think you might say?
Exactly that. It looks like chaos right now. I love that.
Yeah,
I haven't solved it yet. I
exactly.
I love that.
Exactly. And that too.
Yeah.
Yeah. That actually
Yeah.
just gave me the chills too by
Yet.
you saying it, because I can feel the clarity within you as well. Like I can feel the shift within you from saying that. And the reason why that's so powerful is because that is your truth. That is your literal truth. And something us humans have a hard time grasping, and again, I'm speaking from a law of attraction perspective, we can't waver from our truth ever and feel good. And you said something else earlier that I'm also going to touch on. You said most humans want to be helpful. I'm going to say 99.99999% of humans want to be helpful, even the ones who are a-holes. It's just the current emotional state that they're in doesn't allow them to.
Because we can't.
Because even when.
Sorry, because we can't know where they are.
Nope.
Right? In their life experience.
We can know, yeah, but we can know that if somebody is in a bad mood in the parking lot at a gas station, we don't have to know the specifics. All we need to know is they're in the bucket. Somebody flips you off in traffic, ooh, they're in the bucket. I mean, it means we're playing. It means we're adjacent to the bucket.
Yeah.
Because we noticed, right? So it means that we're in it somewhere, shape, or form. The beauty in it is being able to notice it and then acknowledging and recognize that you'd rather be somewhere else, and being able to do exactly what you do and did, and be able to say like, oh man, that person's having a bad day, wish them well. I'm not going to poke the bear. Right? Like I'm not going to go try to cheer them up. That doesn't mean we don't smile. It doesn't mean any of that, or maybe we wave, but that it would get tricky if we need something in return. If I smile at you, then you got to smile at me, or else this isn't a fair trade. No, that's not how it works, right? We're doing it just because it feels good for us to do it. They get to take it the way they want, right? Our intention behind it is to simply be kind and helpful. People have to be open to receiving that kindness and helpfulness. But if they don't, that is not our problem. If somebody's in a bad mood and not having a great day, and we notice and we contribute, meaning, why are you such a dick? Well, now you're in the rabbit hole too.
And it then at that moment became not unconditional. I mean, that's double negative, but it became not unconditional, right? If you notice somebody's having a bad day and you smile at them with the intent to just smile, that's unconditional.
100%.
And not expecting anything in return.
And it's a really kind thing to do. It's a really supportive thing to do. It's a welcoming thing to do. I did a video like 15 years ago where the gentleman asked me in an interview, what would you do differently? And my response to that was I would smile more. Just simply, I would smile more, because it's not our job to solve somebody else's problems, but it's also not our job to go to the rabbit hole with them. Right? Like we also don't get to have it both ways. So a simple act of that kindness, unconditional kindness of, I'm just going to smile, happens to me every single day. I'll smile at somebody, maybe not every day. See, that's me exaggerating. I don't even leave the house every day, so it's not possible. But there'll be times where I will smile at someone too, and they'll either, look away but again, I chalk that up to, I'm just doing it because it's who I am and I want to be welcoming, but I also understand that they might be having a bad day. They could maybe not be from this country. They could be really shy. They could be nervous. There's so many things that could happen. So again, I'm not doing it so you smile or you feel comfortable. I'm hoping that that's the byproduct. That's the intent of the byproduct, but I'm not concerned with that. Right? So we're just simply doing it because it feels good to be kind.
I think one of the most awkward moments I can remember in my life is going into a convenience store in a good mood, smiling at the cashier, getting nothing back, asking for a lottery ticket, whatever the heck it was at the time, handing them to me, taking my money, not saying a bloody word, and I leave. It was most, I felt totally, and looking back, I think I'm like, yeah, I was unconditional. They were nowhere near there. Nowhere near there.
Actually, well, the reality is they were too. They actually were too. They were unconditional from here.
Yeah, that's probably true. Yeah. Yeah.
Right? So they were also unconditional, meaning they weren't going to come to your happy party at all. They were like, nope, I am so far in here. I am just going to stay here and you can have your party if you want to. It's why it's so important, particularly for people who are up here, that we really do our best to remain there. Because they're more.
No.
Oh, sorry, go ahead.
Finish your thought. Sorry.
Oh, I was going to say, because they're more likely to come to us and feel better when we're up here. We open the door for that.
The other example that comes to mind is if you hold a door open for somebody and they walk through it and they say nothing and you yell at them or say to them, you're welcome. That is not unconditional.
Don't do that, people.
Right? Yeah.
That's right. And I would also encourage us as Canadians, because we do this a lot. I'm so happy that we like to hold the door open, but could we do it only when they're within like 2 or 3 steps? Like, can we stop holding the door open for people who are like 26 feet away? Number one, it's uncomfortable for everyone and we love it so much, but yeah. Hold your door open. Just let it be within a couple of feet. But yes, I mean, we make light of it, but you're 100% right. If we're going to hold the door open, we're still not doing it for you. I had that experience yesterday, actually. It was awesome. This lovely lady, I younger, probably, with her father or something, who had a little bit of harder time moving around. And she held the door open and waited a minute, right? Like, so I kind of felt like I needed to rush to get there. And then somebody else walked up. So now this lady's kind of trapped in the loop of holding the door open. It's a two-door situation. So I finally was like, here, let me get the door, and then you go. And then she got the next door. And now we're playing this, no, I'll get the door, you get the door, and then we ended up just laughing so hard as a result of it, because we were both now just trying to be kind and helpful to the other, that it almost became like not a competition about who was going to be nicer, but we just had such an enjoyable laugh about it because it was unconditional. She wasn't doing it to get gratitude from me. I wasn't doing it to get gratitude from her, neither the other gentleman who showed up to the party and was holding the doors open for all of us too. Like, we weren't doing it for anything in return. We were doing it in the moment to just simply be kind and helpful, and then that exchange just, and this is all happening in like 15 seconds, right? Like, it's not very fast. And, and then we just end up having the best laugh over it because we both know what's happening here.
Yeah.
Right.
You're both having that fun.
Yeah.
I
On unconditional, I'm going to hold the door open. No hard feelings, no nothing. Doesn't matter who goes first. Doesn't matter who goes second. Doesn't matter who held the door and who did. Just doesn't matter. It was a wonderful 15-second exchange between 3, 4, 5 people that wouldn't have otherwise
and it
been
didn't
there.
matter that anybody said thank you. You were doing it just for, like, the two of you.
100%. I mean, yeah, I mean, there was a love fest between us after that. We were, everybody was like, oh my gosh, thank you so much. So, I mean, that did in fact happen, but that still wasn't why we were doing it, right? Like, that wasn't the goal. So, again, the work in this experience isn't to stop having negative emotions, right? The work in this experience is to be able to have a negative emotion, embrace it, give ourselves grace over it, and then figure out what it is we actually want that's on the other side of that emotion. And that's going to be anything up here, and then finding a way to get there. Anything up here. It doesn't necessarily mean it's a direct opposite.
I think for me, I have much more clarity today. Unconditional and it's work for me. It's not work for anybody else. So I appreciate you definitely hanging out with the unconditional. And you're right, it definitely does not happen 100% of the time. But we're,
Nope.
WIP, we're
work in progress. Well, and I know we're winding down, but just imagine how effective an even 5% more often change is in our experience. So even if we made a small shift, just a small itty bitty shift, not only does it happen immediately, when we shift our emotional state, it happens immediately. We also then, it becomes easier and easier to do every time it happens.
There's been days where I've like floated on a high, just not giving a crap what anybody thought, just, bouncing down the street, holding people's doors. Somebody misses a coffee cup in the garbage can, you pick it up and you throw it in. Like, just in your own little bubbly world, just bouncing around. And
so good.
Probably the freest I think I've felt in a long time. Just
so good.
If any of our listeners have any questions or comments or topics you want to talk about, leave your comments below, please.
Thank you, everyone. Thank you, Kathy.